Hi everyone, welcome back to Pro English Skills. Today I'm going to talk about something very important. Can you speak English fluently in just 5 months? Spoiler alert. Yes, you absolutely can. And today I'll show you exactly how to achieve this. Step by step. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand what fluency really means, how to achieve it, and how to maximize both your learning time and the quality of your practice. We'll also cover some common myths about learning languages and break down the most effective methods to help you succeed. What does it mean to be fluent? Before we talk about how to get fluent in English, let's take a moment to define what fluency actually means. Many people misunderstand the term and think that being fluent means speaking a language perfectly, like a native speaker. But that's not necessarily true. In fact, fluency doesn't mean you have to speak English perfectly. Fluency simply means that you can communicate effectively and naturally without too much hesitation. Imagine water flowing smoothly down a river. That's what fluency in a language feels like. Your words come out naturally, and you don't have to stop and think too much before speaking. To be more specific, fluency in English means smooth and easy communication. You can speak in a way that flows naturally. Confidence. You feel comfortable expressing your thoughts even if you make mistakes. Conversation ready. You can hold a regular conversation about everyday topics, like talking about your day, asking for directions, or discussing your hobbies. It's important to note that fluency is not the same as native-level perfection. Even native speakers make mistakes from time to time. The key to fluency is communication. If you can communicate your thoughts clearly and understand others, you're fluent, even if you don't know every single word in the dictionary or if you make small grammar mistakes. That's okay. We're not aiming for perfection here. We're aiming for a natural, effective communication. The concept of fluency in 5 months. Now that we know what fluency is, let's talk about how you can become fluent in just 5 months. You might be wondering, is that really possible? The answer is yes, but it requires focus, commitment, and the right approach. First, let's clear up a common misconception. Time alone doesn't determine how fast you learn a language. It's not just about how many months or years you spend learning, but how effectively you use that time. Someone who studies for 1-2 hours every day for 5 months can achieve fluency faster than someone who only practices once a week for 5 years. It's about quality and quantity. You need to combine both for the best results. Quantity. How much time should you invest? To achieve fluency in 5 months, you need to invest a significant amount of time into learning and practicing English. But how much time exactly? A general rule of thumb is about 600 hours of focused, effective practice. That may sound like a lot, but let's break it down. 600 hours over 5 months equals roughly 20 hours per week, or about 4 hours per day. If you're serious about learning English quickly, you'll need to commit to the practicing every day. Now, you might be thinking, 3 to 4 hours a day? That sounds overwhelming. But don't worry. This doesn't mean you have to sit at a desk studying grammar for 4 hours straight. In fact, that would be a bad idea. Make it manageable. You can split your practice into smaller chunks throughout the day. For example, checkmark back morning. Spend 1 hour listening to an English podcast while you have breakfast. Lunch break. Use the 30 minutes to review vocabulary or read an article in English. Evening. Watch a 45-minute English TV show or YouTube video focusing on understanding the dialogue. Night practice. Spend another 45 minutes practicing speaking, repeat phrases, talk to yourself, or have a conversation with a friend or an online language partner. By breaking it up, you make it more manageable and can fit language learning into your everyday routine. How should you spend your learning time? While the number of hours you spend learning is important, the quality end of those hours is even more crucial. You could spend 5 hours a day passively listening to English with no focus, or you could spend just one focused, engaged hour for practicing specific skills. And the second option? It will give you better results. How do you maximize the quality of your learning? 1. Focused practice. Don't just passively listen to English. Pay close attention. Try to understand what's being said. Observe how sentences are structured. Repeat key phrases out loud. Second, comprehensible input. Make sure the material you're studying is at the right level for you. It should be challenging enough to push you, but not so difficult that you feel lost. If you're watching a TV show or reading an article where you only understand 10% of the words, it's too difficult. Aim for understanding around 80%. This will help you learn faster without getting discouraged. Third, speaking practice. You must practice speaking if you want to become fluent. Reading and listening are important, but speaking is the only way to develop fluency. Find a language partner or tutor to practice with. Talk to yourself in English. Yes, it really helps. Practice speaking out loud to build confidence and muscle memory. Fourth, emotional engagement. The more you enjoy the process, the faster you'll learn. Choose topics that interest you and find ways to make learning fun. Watch movies you love in English. Read about your hobbies in English. Listen to English music. Remember, you don't need a huge vocabulary to be fluent. The fluency myth. Do you need thousands of words? One of the biggest myths as about fluency is that you need to know thousands and thousands of words to be fluent, but in reality, you only need around 4,000 common words to hold everyday conversations in English. Think about it. In daily life, we mostly talk about common topics, like the weather, food, work, family, hobbies. We don't need to know advanced vocabulary like metamorphosis or subatomic to have a normal conversation. A smaller, more focused vocabulary is much more effective than trying to memorize thousands of words you'll rarely use. So, where should you start? Master the most commonly used words and phrases in English first. You can gradually expand your vocabulary as you go, but if you want to get fluent in 5 months, focus on learning words that will help you communicate right away. The power of listening. Train your ear to understand English. Listening is one of the most powerful tools for learning any language. When you listen to English, you're best at not just learning vocabulary, you're also training your ear to understand the natural rhythm, intonation, and flow of the language. This is critical for fluency. Spend as much time as you can listening to English. Podcasts, audiobooks, YouTube videos, TV shows or movies, music with lyrics. The more you listen, the more you'll start to pick up on how native speakers connect their words, which will help you improve your own speaking skills. But remember, passive listening is not enough. You need to actively listen. Pay attention to how words are pronounced. Observe how sentences are structured. Notice how native speakers express themselves in different situations. Speaking with confidence, don't be afraid to make mistakes. One of the biggest barriers around to fluency is the fear of making mistakes. Many learners are afraid to speak because they don't want to sound silly or say the wrong thing. But here's the truth. Mistakes are a necessary part of learning. In fact, the more mistakes you make, the faster you'll improve. Think about how babies learn to speak. They say words wrong. They mix up grammar. They mispronounce things. But they keep trying, and eventually they become fluent. You need to adopt the same mindset. Don't be afraid to speak, even if you're not 100% confident in your grammar or pronunciation. Fluency is not perfection. Fluency means being able to communicate effectively, even if you make mistakes. As long as people understand what you're trying to say, you're on the right track. To help you build confidence, start by practicing in a low-pressure environment. Talk to yourself in English at home. Practice with a friend. Use language apps where you can speak with people from all over the world. The more you practice, the more comfortable you'll become. Repetition is key. Train like a champion. Think of language learning like training for a sport. If you want to become a champion athlete, You have to practice regularly and with intensity. The same goes for learning English. When athletes train, they don't just try a new skill once and move on. They practice it over and over again until it becomes second nature. You should approach language learning the same way, repeatedly, until it becomes a natural part of your vocabulary. This is called spaced repetition, and it's one of the most effective ways to remember new information. How to use repetition in your daily English practice. Review vocabulary regularly. Every day, review the words and phrases you learned the day before. Use flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet, or simply write them down in a notebook and go over them at different times of the day. Use new words in sentences. As soon as you learn a new word, use it in a sentence. Try creating different sentences with the same word throughout the day. For example, if you learn the word opportunity, try saying, "This is a great opportunity to learn English. I had the opportunity to meet new people today. There's an opportunity to practice English in this conversation." Practice speaking out loud. Don't just think the sentences in your head, say them out loud. This helps you get used to the sound of your own voice speaking English and builds your confidence. The more you practice speaking, the more smoother and more natural it will feel. Revisit old lessons. As you continue learning, go back to previous lessons and review them. Language learning is not a straight line. You need to revisit material multiple times to truly master it. Remember, repetition isn't boring. It's how we train our brains to absorb and retain new information. The more you repeat a word or phrase, the easier it will come to mind when you need it. Immerse yourself in English. Surround yourself with the language. Immersion is one of the best ways to learn a new language. Quickly. When you immerse yourself in English, you force your brain to constantly engage with the language, which speeds up the learning process. But here's the good news. You don't need to move to an English-speaking country to immerse yourself. When you learn a new word or phrase, don't just look it up once and move on. Use it. Surround yourself with English as much as possible. Change your environment to English. Set your phone and computer to English. This is a small but powerful step. By changing the language settings on your devices, you'll get used to reading and navigating in English throughout your day. Watch TV shows and movies in English. Listening to native English speakers will help you understand pronunciation, rhythm, and natural expressions. Listen to English podcasts and audiobooks. Even when you're cooking, commuting, or exercising, let your ears train to hear English. Join English-speaking communities. Whether it's online forums, social media groups, or language exchange apps, find ways to engage with native and fluent speakers. How to immerse yourself in English, step by step. Start with subtitles in your native language. If you need them, But over time, switch to the English subtitles, and eventually, no subtitles at all. Pay attention to how people all speak and try to repeat sentences out loud. Listen to English podcasts or audiobooks. Choose topics that interest you so you stay engaged. Listening to English while you're commuting, exercising, or doing household chores can make a big difference. There are podcasts for every interest, whether it's storytelling, news, comedy, or educational topics. Create English-only zones. Designate certain times of the day or certain areas of your home where you only use English. For example, when you're in the All's kitchen, try to think and speak in English about what you're doing. I'm making a sandwich. I need to buy some apples. When you're relaxing in the living room, read an e-English book or watch an e-English video. In the mornings, listen to an English news update or practice vocabulary. These small changes build up over time and make a huge difference in how comfortable you feel with the language. Find an English-speaking community. Even if you don't live in an English-speaking country, there are many ways to find people to practice with. Join online language exchanges. Websites like Italki, HelloTalk, and Tandem connect you with native speakers who want to learn your language while helping you practice English. It's a win-win. You can set up video calls or chat via text and audio messages. Attend local meetups. In many cities, there are English language groups or clubs where people gather to practice English. Check platforms like meetup.com to see if there's anything near you. Use social media. Join the Facebook groups, Reddit communities, or Instagram pages dedicated to English learning. You'll find people with the same goals, and you can support each other by sharing tips, asking questions, and practicing together. The key? Practice English in real-life situations. The more you speak with others, the faster you'll overcome any nervousness, and the more natural the English will feel. A balanced approach. The 4 key skills for fluency. To become fluent in 5 months, you need to work on all 4 language skills: listening, speaking, reading, writing. Each of these reinforces the others, and together they build your overall fluency. Listening, why it's important. Listening is essential for understanding our native speakers and picking up on pronunciation, intonation, conversational flow. It helps train your brain to recognize common phrases and sentence structures, making it easier to speak naturally. How to practice listening. Listen to English audio daily. Podcasts, audiobooks, TV shows, YouTube videos. The more you listen, the faster you'll improve. How to master English, the 4 key skills. Active listening. One of the most effective ways to improve. Pause the audio and repeat what you hear. Try to Mimic the speaker's pronunciation and rhythm. Shadowing technique, a powerful tool. This technique helps improve both speaking and listening skills at the same time. Find a short audio clip of a native speaker. Listen and repeat the words just a few seconds behind the speaker. Try to match their high-tuned tone, pronunciation, and speed. Speaking, why it's important. Speaking is the most direct way to develop fluency. The more you speak, the more natural and automatic your English will become. How to practice speaking. Speak every day, even if it's just to yourself. Narrate your day. Describe what you're doing or talk about your plans. Find a language partner or tutor. If you can't find someone in person, try online platforms like italki, Cambly, Preply. Record yourself speaking and listen to it later. This will help you notice areas for improvement in pronunciation and grammar. Plus, it gives you a clear sense of progress. Over time. Reading, why it's important. Reading expands your vocabulary and reinforces grammar and sentence structures. It's also a great way to expose yourself to complex ideas and conversations in English. How to practice reading. Start with materials that match your level. Beginners. Read children's books or simple news articles. Intermediate, advanced. Challenge yourself with standard novels, blogs, or professional articles. Read out loud. This helps with reading comprehension, speaking skills, pronunciation. You'll improve fluency and get used to speaking English naturally. Keep a vocabulary notebook. Write down free new words with a simple definition and an example sentence. Review these words regularly to strengthen your vocabulary. Writing, why it's important. Writing that organizes your thoughts, solidifies grammar rules, and improves vocabulary. It's also a practical skill for sending emails, writing notes, updating social media. How to practice writing. Start a daily journal in English. Write about your said day, thoughts, or goals. It doesn't have to be long. Just focus on expressing your ideas. Practice writing short emails or messages in English. Join online forums or social media groups where you can engage in written conversations. Reddit, for example, has many communities for language learners. Ask for feedback. If possible, have a tutor or language partner. Review your writing. This will help you to identify mistakes and improve faster. Building a strong foundation for fluency. Focusing on all 4 skills. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing will make you a well-rounded communicator. Developing a learning schedule is key. Consistency is everything. With daily practice, you can reach fluency in just 5 months. How to master English fluency in 5 months. Consistency is essential. The more you engage with English, the faster you'll improve. Make it a habit. Even short daily sessions can make a big difference. Sample daily learning schedule, 3 to 4 hours per day. Morning, 1 hour. Listen to a podcast or audiobook while having breakfast. Review 10 to 20 new vocabulary words using flashcards or a language app. Lunchtime, 30 minutes. Read a short news article or blog post in English. Practice summarizing what you read out loud. Afternoon, 45 minutes. Have a conversation with a language partner or tutor. Focus on everyday topics. Talk about your plans for the weekend or something you did yesterday.